Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. Hello, Internet. Welcome once again to Gaming Gumbo. It is Saturday. It is 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, we're live. Twitch.tv/Ready Check Radio. Come on over. Join us sometime. Tell you what, I'll make it nice and easy for you. If you're watching on the website or on YouTube or listening on Spotify, head on over to the website. Upper right-hand corner, all the socials. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all of it, Spotify. It's all there. Click on it. Sub, turn on those notifications, tell your friends, follow, all that stuff. Feed the algorithms, help us out, help us grow. If you like what we do here, it's the easiest and fastest way to support us, and it just happens to be the cheapest as well. Saturday, we always wrap up the week in gaming with some of our favorite news stories across the board. Joining me, Mike Byrne, to go through all of it is Mr. Jason Winter. Things have changed. You've got stuff in the background. I like it.
My God,
I like it.
Everyone who's complaining about me having stuff in the background, stop it.
I love it.
You
have a car trophy.
Do I
have a car trophy?
Tell that story?
Yeah,
That's not just going to be a pre-show story.
I would like to know how you won said card trophy.
So
what is that first place? What'd you get?
Not quite first place.
Okay, so second. Okay, third.
Yeah, okay, it was third place.
Okay, all right. Well, that's still good though. Like if I go to a big, Crystal Cup and I come in third, that's hot shit. Okay.
Yeah, it was third place in the 1993 Car Wars Racing Championship.
Oh wow! Where
Gen Con that year?
Pretty cool.
Look at
my first
you.
Gen Con, and also for what it's worth, there's a photo of me holding that trophy in Pyramid number 3, the old Steve Jackson Games magazine. That is my first ever appearance in a magazine, my first ever photo in a magazine.
Damn,
wow.
You rocked at that game.
Yeah, I was amazing. I was awesome, and I played well, and I had a good strategy. And it wasn't totally just because there were 5 people in the tournament and 2 of them hated each other, so took each other out. That's not why I got third place. Not at all.
Oh.
No, it definitely is not.
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
No.
That's such a great story. I love that story. I'm going to tell my kids that story. Just be like that.
You're going to tell your grandkids that story. 20 years, you're going to tell your grandkids that story.
I am. Also on the line, Mr. Evil himself with his kitty again. What's up? Resident artist of Ready Check Radio, Yod.
The usual cat in the lap, not letting me work, that type of thing.
Oh, you know. Yod prepping some interesting stuff. For those of you that don't know, we did give Tarkoth and Kronos the week off this week. They had gone on like a 9 or 10 week tear, and I always try and give all the hosts of the show a week off here and there, so because everybody's a volunteer and I appreciate it, and I want it to be fun to do, not feel like a job. So gave them off this past Thursday. There was no relic grind, but the condition of that was that now next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, the 2 of them and a third guest host will be competing in Final Fantasy Jeopardy on the relic grind. So
they needed
tune in
to prepare.
Yeah, they got a week to prepare. I mean, they don't see the questions. Only I see that, but study up, gents. Study up. Join us Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern on the relic grind for that this week. But in the world of just gaming this news, hey, let's start off with the usual man, fuck Blizzard.
Oh, geez. Where's my booze?
Yeah, get your booze out real quick, because it's just, man, fuck Blizzard. All right, I don't think I could say that anymore and still put abbreviated language on my YouTube rating. So I think we'll stop there on what Blizzard can go do. But it's been a little bit of an actually interesting legal week, Jason, if you're following all the allegations. And we talked on the show previously about now the DFEH in California is having a little bit of a spat with the EEOC. And because, lawyers were working on one thing, then went to another DFEH and are opposing it, and that you really can't do that ethically. So, of course, expect Blizzard to kind of try to put fuel on that fire, right?
Yeah,
and take advantage of the situation, the confusion between these two governmental bodies. And we had a little bit of that this week.
DFEH is confused. It hurt itself in the confusion. So yeah, because of the supposed conflict of interest that it sees prop up, Activision Blizzard wants to pause the harassment case while that's all taken care of. So obviously they want they want the other two to fight. They want their two enemies to fight so they can come out on top.
Yeah,
Right.
It's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right now,
like that.
Blizzard is like, you know what? 18 million for the EEOC kind of feels worth it right now. Kind of feels worth it right now. So yeah, they're challenging quite a number of things here. Not just trying to get the case tossed, which they'll always be trying to do throughout this whole process, no matter what happened. But they did try to appeal for a new venue. Ironically, there on that front, though, the DFEH also agreed that this should probably be moved to a new venue. So the parties did come to terms on that portion. But
Right.
Blizzard also, Yod, now accusing the DFEH of destroying evidence, something
Projection
that
much?
the DFEH had previously accused Blizzard of doing.
Yeah. Oh, we see this a lot in a lot of these things where once there's a chink in the other side's armor that's coming at you, they try to go after them for other things. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, they did the whole thing where they hired on the lawyers that they shouldn't have. Granted, that was a bad choice. Destroying documents yourself when you're accusing the other person of destroying documents is no. I don't see it, especially now with the DHEF.
Yeah.
It's
I tell you what, I really wouldn't want to be the judge, though, because now the
No.
judge has to decide, Jason, basically Blizzard's asking them to decide which case is more important and needs to be held first. The DFEH against the EEOC and their complaints back and forth, or the investigation from the DFEH into Blizzard. And Blizzard, of course, on its own side, has been saying publicly that, we're going to make changes, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And in all of this, we're doing this, they have never once actually acknowledged, let alone publicly done anything in response to the kind of employee demands letter that was put together about canceling forced arbitration and some other policy changes they want as well. But Blizzard was quick to point out that this week that they fired 20 employees and reprimanded another 20 more in response to their own internal investigations into all these sexual harassment and discrimination suits. And they kind of left the line, right? The SEC, that's going to be the one that matters, Mad Martha, at the end of this. That's going to be the one that matters. If any of them matter, rich people tend to get away with stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, the SEC, I think, is the one they're a little more scared of right now. They did go ahead and paint this line. Hey, we got rid of people that in our investigations, Jason, they were, I don't want to say serial offenders, but let's say repeat offenders. The people that they put on reprimand or put on notice were, people that maybe did one thing in their history. There was a complaint filed. There was an investigation into it, but there wasn't a pattern of that behavior. So they reprimanded them with the hopes of going forward, you're not going to do this again. Getting to make the announcement was Activision's chief compliance officer, Frances Townsend, who I took the liberty on the MMO Bomb article to go ahead and put an editor's note on that saying she's inexplicably still at Activision. I have no idea why this woman is still there. Amazes
wasn't she
me.
one of the people
Amazes me.
named in the case?
No. But she's the one that immediately sent out those
That's
everything is false emails.
Right.
That pissed off all the employees, saying, damn well this stuff isn't false. Just shut your mouth. You didn't have to respond at all.
And
They're
then a
all
week and a
such
half later,
unlikable people. I get them mixed up.
yeah, but then a week and a half later, she wrote that article about how whistleblowing is bad.
Right.
Yeah. And then turned her Twitter off because, dish it but can't take it.
Right.
Just amazing. And then she did go on to say that, hey, they're trying to create a more accountable workspace, and that to do this, basically Bobby Kotick has given her a blank check to do whatever is necessary. I guess except actually address the employees' gripes in their demands, Jason,
Well,
except that.
When someone gives you a blank check, you can just fill it out for like 5 cents. That's an option.
Right.
Right.
And that's what she's doing. She's making these surface moves that she hopes will be enough for the the pressure to come off and for the lawsuits not to happen. That's the
Yeah.
point. Like having people who have actually committed crimes or whatever with your company. That's how you can get sued. Actually changing things so that people don't commit crimes or whatever. That's not immediately going to cause a problem. So until that sort of thing changes, there's nothing really changing to any great degree.
Yeah, the whole thing's a mess. Moving on. Let's get away from Blizzard.
All right.
Just there you go. There's your update.
Okay, get away. Leave.
We told you we'd keep you updated. Let's talk about Elyon. We had a brand new MMORPG launch this week. Now, this has actually been in development for years. In fact, it is on the Unreal Engine 3. That's how long it's been in development. You might know this as Air Ascent Infinite Realm, debuted 2017? So I guess like 5-6 years ago now, or 4 or 5 years ago, the first time we saw it, but it had already been in development prior to that. Huge ship air battles and all this stuff, right? And then slowly released in the East, got pulled back, got reworked in huge ways, reissued as Elyon, was going to launch as a buy-to-play game here in the West. Decided, hey, we don't want to launch the day after New World, so we're going to go ahead and delay a month, and we're also going to launch as free-to-play instead of buy-to-play, offered refunds if people had pre-ordered, or you could keep it and you were going to get rubies instead of the box portion of your Founders Pack that you had gone with. Well, it is finally here. It has been launched now for 3 official days, but 6 days if you had early access time. And I'm going to show, the video I'm showing, if you want to see like full opinions about this is the first look video on mmobomb.com that I did, so you can check that out to get an idea of what the game's all about and see if maybe you want to give it a whirl, since it is free to play. Jason, it's one we've been watching for a while, not just covering MMO Bomb, but having this like kind of emotional trip together on, hey, that looks kind of neat. I wonder what they're going to, they had to pull all that stuff out. They're changing names. This is still in development. Is this ever coming out? I don't know. It's finally here now. Have you checked it out? Have you watched some streams? Have you played it yourself? What do you think so far?
You actually left out a step. It was free to play originally. Then they made it buy to play, and then they made it free to play again. So.
Did they really? It launched in the East. Was it really?
It was going to be, at least, because that's why we were covering it on MMOBomb.
No, I thought we were covering it on the MMO Bomb under the "we don't know its payment model yet" flag. But because it was being developed by Bluehole Studios, which did Terra, and published by Cacao Games, which had both buy-to-play and free-to-play under its umbrella at the time. They don't do BDO anymore, but they did. We kind of went with the, hey, it's Bluehole Studio. We'll cover it until we know the payment model and it's not free-to-play.
I'll look that up later. But anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But we were covering it, yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't watched anything other than your first look on it.
Oh, okay.
And I will say that I have a more positive impression of the game after your first look than before it. But that's probably only because I couldn't have really had a lower possible impression of it going into it. Like short of you saying this game is absolute trash, it actually comes into your home and steals your wallet, I probably would have said, okay, it's not bad. Comparatively.
Wow. That's
because I actually did kind of like the combat.
Okay,
like,
hold on. Let me move away from Elyon for a minute, Jason. We gotta talk here. Yod, we gotta figure out what's going on. Jason likes MMORPGs.
As far as I know.
I know he does. But there has not been an MMORPG that I have talked to Jason about, whether it's a private conversation or a public conversation on a podcast or whatever, that he has actually liked. Like Guild Wars 2, maybe.
I said nice things about New World, right? I said I was kind of nice about that.
Well, both you and I were like, I like it more than I thought I would, which isn't exactly a ringing endorsement of any product.
It was not.
That dog shit wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. So what is the MMO? What is the be-all, end-all MMO of all time for Jason? The all-time, this is what MMOs should look like.
Little of this, little of that. I mean, there's not any particular game. If they were perfect, I'd be playing that, not running this stupid show.
Wow.
I can't even get him to just nail down one. Like, I know he was involved in Lotro for a long time, but
Yeah,
that
that's fell on
that
hard
got
times.
crazy.
Everyone believes that's fell on hard times.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is one that he
Guild Wars 2
gets
is probably
heavy.
closest to me. It's probably closest to for
Yeah,
me.
so
In terms of
that's
what I
it.
like. Yeah,
That's
it does. It still does a lot of things right. That's my closest. Yeah.
So you're excited for
It's
End of
not
Dragons
Neverwinter.
then?
It's not Neverwinter.
You're
Played that for
excited
like
for
2 years.
End of Dragons then?
I don't get excited anymore. I'm
No
anticipating.
shit. That's what that's what I'm asking about. He likes the concept of an MMO.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
execution is always subpar.
He's like, I like the idea of it
'cause
more
here's
than
the
the
thing.
actual product.
Here's what they all still try to do. This is actually an article I read, I think on MMORPG.com, like 10 or even like 15, 10, 12 years ago. They said, where did MMORPGs come from? They came from single-player RPGs, your Final Fantasies, your Dragon Warriors, whatever. They said, hey, wouldn't this be cool if it was an actual like MMO, or if we could play this online with other people? And it's like, yeah, it sounds great. And what do you always do in those other games? You level, you get stronger, you get stronger, you beat the boss, you're done. MMORPG said, you level, you get stronger, you beat the boss, we got to keep you playing. Beat the boss again, beat the boss again, beat the boss again, beat the boss again. So that's
beat on
kind of
each
the
other.
flaw. Yeah, beat on each other too. There's some of that. So they haven't figured out how to, and that's what we always talk about. The real game is that end game, because they haven't figured out how to break away from the whole leveling grind, the useless part of the game that you're only going to do until you get to max level, and then you do all the max level stuff. They haven't figured out how to break away from that for the most part. So anyway.
Jason Tark's right. What I'm going to do, I don't know if we'll do it for next week. It depends on the level of news. Next week, I'm going to give like 5 or 6 different features of an, like, I'll be like PvP, and you got to tell me the MMO that does PvP the best, or PV or raiding content, or dungeon content, or leveling experience, or abilities, or crafting. And you got to tell me which MMOs do the best in each category. You too, Yad. Obviously, you and I will contribute as well. It won't just be us grilling Jason, but I think that's what we got to do. The three of us will sit down and on the show. Spur of the moment. I won't tell anybody the categories. I guess I'll have a little bit of an advantage, but whatever. It's not a contest. But yeah, we'll create our ideal MMORPG. And if the news is slow, we're gonna have the state of play this week. So I don't know how slow the news will be. We'll talk about the state of play in a minute. But in a future show, maybe next week, maybe beyond. Anyway, Elyon. What did you think, Yad? Have you gotten your hands on it? What's up?
No, I haven't. I watched your first look as much as I could, because actually when I was watching it, it kept like freezing on me, and I don't know why, but I think I got through 75% of it. And
were you watching it on Discord?
No, well, no. I was watching it through the link you said on the show notes.
No, it was a joke about us freezing last week.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, it would have froze less. But it does look like fun. The character creation looks like it's pretty inclusive, except for the weird cat people. But if you want weird cat people, you want weird cat people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what I want to jump in. I'm going to say, Yad says, well, it looks pretty fun. Yes, but so do the 8,000 other games you can play. You're not going to play this one, so shut up.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, and I will spare going through like my in-depth analysis, because we did spend about half an hour on the Always Online podcast yesterday giving opinions, cued Troy and I, so go check that out on mmobomb.com to listen to our full in-depth opinions. The short version is I like some of the systems that they're using here. I think the abilities and the runestone system, like triggering what abilities and modifiers you can make, I think it's very cool. There's lots of customization options there for each class, because you are limited by the abilities that you can actually equip, and then you can then modify those abilities, but it's related to your gear, which I like the way everything interconnects. There's way too many fucking menus in this game. Way too many menus in this game. It's typically Eastern MMORPG when it comes to menus and systems.
I think the targeting's weird for me.
Well, it is action combat in the vein of Terra, but it is built on the backbone of what was previously a tab target game, so it does feel a little sluggish.
Which might be where the menus come from.
but it looked kind of like almost like a Guild Wars 2-ish kind of thing with like a combination of both action and tab target.
Yeah, you can't tab target at all, but it definitely does have that feel still, Jason, of it was when it was Ascent Infinite Realm, it was tab target that they've converted into an action combat. And it's got the telegraph stuff of like a Wild Star and, you know, things like that. So
well, every game does that now.
Yeah, you know, but the story's boring as shit. I mean, it's just terrible. It's just boring. I don't
And that's
care
the other
about
issue I have
any
with
of the
MMORPGs
characters.
is so many of them think they have this amazing story and the good guys are fighting the bad guys. It's for the destiny of the world or whatever. I don't care.
And then
Just
you
give me the
fight
damn
each
game.
other.
Yeah, the story's really boring. The voice acting is atrocious. The graphics, I mean, they have occasionally they can look very nice, but then they don't in a lot of areas. Like, it's just, there's nothing that it does horribly egregious. I know some people are going to argue about pay to win when it comes to the runestone stuff and polishing and upgrading runestones, but, you know, it's going to be a personal flavor at the end of the day. I rated it on MMO Bomb, and I rated it like a 5.5 to a 6. You know, it was just slightly a little bit above average for me. There was stuff that I wanted to go and play with still, independently of having to do it for MMO Bomb, that I just personally wanted to check out some more. I'm still in that category after playing it on yesterday's stream. I will probably play it a little bit this coming week too. But yeah, I mean, Jason, as much as I wanted to make fun of you for it, it is like the bar was pretty low because of the development hell that it got trapped in. And I'm still kind of like, I can see where you guys ended up having to save some money because you were stuck in development hell, reusing some Terra models with new skins and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's not terrible. Some people might find a home in here. Will it be enough to stay alive? I don't know. You released a month after New World and a month before Endwalker, and I think that's going to crucify you more than anything else right now, Yod.
Yeah, XIV's ruined me for most MMOs at this point. Like Tarkov said, it's just the gameplay, the story, the community. It's just, you know, it's ruined me.
This would have been an awesome game in like 2007.
Troy said the same thing. Troy said the same thing, Jason. He said this game would have been tremendous if it had come out in like 2000. I think he said 2008 to 2010. He was like, if it would have come out then, it would have been absolutely tremendous. Which is, yeah, you kind of go, well, yeah, I bet it would. But you also go, well, you know, if Uncharted 4 had come out in 1995, it would have been tremendous too. It doesn't take away what it is today or make it less, but yeah, I don't know. I have it installed, so I do want to keep messing with it, but I totally understand if both of you are like, I just got other stuff to do and this isn't interesting enough to leave.
No, not even
pretty much.
Housing is pretty neat. I mean, you get a whole plot of land.
It looked kind of nice. That part of it looked nice.
Yeah, you get a whole big plot of land with multiple buildings that you have to upgrade, but downside, it is one of those very mobile stamina built things. So when you upgrade your blessing fountain, it's going to take an hour to upgrade that, or you could speed it up by giving us a couple of bucks.
Of course.
Yeah, so there's that. I don't know. I still think it's around a 6 for me. Just slightly above average, but nothing great.
You're way too. You're so nice.
Well, I mean, what would you give it? It's not terrible. I gave it a 6, but I did put the caveat on it that it's only because I'm personally interested in a few systems that make me still want to play it, so I can't just put it at a 5.
The design works pretty.
You know, I think a 5 is just an average run-of-the-mill MMORPG, 5 out of 10.
I think this is an average run-of-the-mill.
Well,
best.
then how is my rating being too generous? I'm giving it a 6 because there are some cool systems I want to explore a little bit.
And
but for
other
the most
systems
part,
you don't want to explore. So,
but for the most part, it's a 5. I'm giving it 1 extra point for some interesting systems that I want to explore. I think that's fair. I don't think I'm overinflating it or being too generous.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at Metacritic and someone gave it a 10, so you're right. You're not.
I'm definitely not being that generous.
Combat is fun. Everything in the shop is cosmetics, dated engine, but amazing graphics and anime-style customization.
No,
I didn't think you were allowed to review your own products. Like, ethically, I didn't think you should do that.
That design work is definitely not completely anime style. It might be inspired by, but it's not.
It's not
Anime
anime
style.
style at all. Get
Yeah.
the hell out of here. Go play like Soul Worker or Elsword or something like that. Okay, here's one you gentlemen, at least I know one of you are at least mildly interested in and will probably play at some point. We've got news now, well, officially, from Concerned Ape, the creator of Stardew Valley, on their next project, Jason, Haunted Chocolatier. And for a while, the announcement was so hot, it broke the site. It broke the site.
It did.
He put the link in after the announcement and tried to go there and took like 3 minutes to load the site. It should be noted that I found an early, I talked about this in chat. Remember I said that there was an early Stardew trailer from like 9 years ago that had 411,000 views?
Yeah. It
This
had 400,000 plus today after all those years, right?
Yeah, as of, it was after 9 years. This was on 2 days ago and it already has 1.2 million views.
Jesus.
Hey, it's doing pretty good.
So
It's doing pretty good.
He's done okay. He's pretty popular and pretty well liked. And it looks cool. It looks really cool.
Were either of you, I guess full disclosure here, I have never played Stardew Valley.
Wow.
I know what it is. A couple of my kids, 2 out of 3 of my kids, I maybe all 3 have, but I know for sure 2 of them have messed around in Stardew Valley. I've just never personally been interested in it, but I don't play like survival type games and those type, like I don't play Minecraft. I don't play.
It's not a survival game.
Yeah, it's
It kind of is.
It's more like it's more like what do you call it? The Harvest Moon games, farming.
Yeah.
games.
Right,
With
but that's
social
kind of
aspects.
the vein. Yeah, maybe survival's the wrong word, but that is the vein that I
Yeah.
am putting this in, like the kind of Minecraft go do
And I never played
whatever
one
you
either.
want.
I never played one either.
It's like a
I do
living your
like
life
Animal
game.
Crossing, but I just don't have the time to sink into those types of things. So while I could appreciate Stardew Valley, I personally never played it. Yod, are you a Stardew Valley fan?
I am not. The wife is though, and she is
Am I the
totally
only
all
one?
for this.
Well, Jason, you were the one that I knew was going to be the one watching this and
It's a
excited
cute,
about
wholesome game, and I'm the only one who's played it out of the 3 of us. How
Mhm.
the hell is that possible?
I
have
don't
a-
play cute, wholesome games.
Yeah. I have like 100. I have 125 hours in it, which is not a lot because I've never even. I played like 2 games mostly, and I've never gotten through like the 3rd year on it. So
this. Yeah, comparatively to a lot of players, that's probably nothing hours-wise.
Oh, there's one player in my house I know who's like that too. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm really basically it's not going to be maybe it's in the same world. We don't know exactly, but it's not the same people. So it's sort of like Stardew Valley too. Like the initial Stardew Valley, you play it and it's good, but you realize it's like it definitely is the guy's first game, like the first game he did on his own, because it's a little off in some places. Like things aren't quite as good as you'd like them to be. Some of the systems aren't as mature as you'd like them to be, and so forth. So I was like, if he could just do that again, do Stardew 2, but with what he's learned and with better systems and so forth, I love it. And this looks like it could be just that, more or less. So,
And he does
I'm all
kind of
for it.
talk about that in the post for Haunted Chocolatier, the new game, when he's talking about like why chocolate, and if Stardew is the sun, then Haunted Chocolatier is inspired by the moon, and they're both. But he does say, hey, after 10 years of practice, talking about Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Practice, I feel more confident than ever in actually being able to bring a full idea to life, not working within, the constraints of having to learn the development that they wanted to do to create Stardew Valley. Now this is trying to create something with totally different rule set with all the lessons learned. So, I mean, that the potential is certainly there for it to be leaps and bounds above Stardew, but it should be noted, it's going to be a while before we see this, too.
I mean, it's still just him, right? He doesn't have any workers or anything.
Right. I mean, he farms out a little bit, like you said, like a little bit of the audio or something he farmed out. So it's like 95% done by him. But yeah, it's basically a one-man show.
Yeah, so yeah, I would assume that it's going to be a bit.
Well, consider that he started in Stardew 10 years ago and it released 5 years ago. So
Right.
ideally he knows
Right.
more now. So hopefully less than 5 years.
Yeah, and he
Maybe.
closes his like kind of announcement post on it with saying, so please understand, I tend to work with a vertical slice approach, so it's easy to put together some video, the video you're looking at, that looks like a finished game, but there is a ton of content I still need to make, so please understand that it will be a while before this game is done. I'm going to be working on it as much as I can, though. Thanks for reading all of this, Ape. And yeah, I mean, the reaction is tremendous, and I can totally understand why, even not being a Stardew player fan. I can recognize the impact that game has had. And Jason, we finally found one you're looking forward to.
Yeah,
Oh
there
my
you go.
God.
Maybe he'll have multiplayer called an MMORPG.
I just want to know the day you it goes up for pre-order. I want to know. Did you actually? Were you excited enough to pre-order? Because that'll be the holy hell
That'll be
day.
the last game I pre-ordered. Probably Crusader Kings 3, I guess.
Let's go through a couple news points, gentlemen, that just kind of make you raise an eyebrow. A couple rumors, some stuff like that. And I got to say, this first one definitely raises an eyebrow and makes me smile. Makes me smile.
That one, yes.
Video Game Chronicle reporting from a few anonymous developer sources, so sprinkle salt, take it for what it's worth. Ubisoft is working on a plan for a new Splinter Cell mainline title, trying to revive the series after fans of it are a little miffed over the mobile and VR titles that they have released since the last mainline titles. Video Game Chronicle reporting the much-requested sequel will arrive at a time when the company is looking into rebuilding its image following its own wave of discrimination and sexual harassment allegations. They declined to comment to Video Game Chronicle when they were approached ahead of the reporting of this rumor. I'll tell you what, I would love to see Sam Fisher and another Splinter Cell back in the style of the original Splinter Cells. They kind of got the most recent one that was tried to be open world and it was very linear. And I give me, Splinter Cell, Splinter Cell 2, Cell 2, Splinter Cell 3. Double Agent I didn't think was that bad. It had some neat things going on that just wasn't all that executed very well. I love tactical espionage games, Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cells, all those types, Fear Effect to a certain extent. Siphon Filter, there's a franchise that needs to come back.
Jeez.
There's a franchise that needs to come back.
I
love those types of games. Splinter Cell got away from that, even though it's what its roots were. I'd love to see a Splinter Cell back in its roots, modern day, technologies being able to boost the title. It's just a rumor, but I'd say in my mind it's probably a pretty strong rumor because Ubisoft could certainly use a W right about now, Yad.
Yeah, they want some more games out, I think, to get the fans back on their side, hopefully good games. And I can see how there still is a core audience for those original games, because those original games with a type of thing with tactical espionage, you can't really be open world. You have to have a mission that you're sent on, maybe a few side things, a little Easter egg here and there, but you're going in on a mission. And you go do the mission. An open world just doesn't work for that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Mad Martha saying, here's a crazy idea. How about developing an original game? I mean, to be fair, they do have a number of original titles.
They did. It was called Hyperscape. How'd that go?
Yeah. I mean, they're working on Skull and Bones, which also is not, we know is kind of a development hell as well. They did the Division and the Division 2.
Right.
They do come out with new things, but then the new things are so successful in a lot of cases that they become franchises, and that's just
right.
the way that works. You want that to happen. And I think Splinter Cell at this point, Jason, is old enough that it would be new in a lot of ways because we haven't seen a real version of a Splinter Cell game in so long.
If fans are miffed at not having a Splinter Cell game for a while, they should take a look at how the Ghost Recon people are, how happy they are with the new games they're getting.
Wow, Ghost Recon.
Yeah, Ubisoft definitely needs a W. Definitely needs a W.
They want a W. I don't know if they need it.
No, they do.
They
I think
deserve
they
it.
Is the question.
Yeah, that's the question. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Deserve? Yeah, that's different. That's different. I would agree with you that no, they do not. No, they do not.
Still got some work to go.
X Defiant and Ghost Recon, free to play games. You like Punk or you like Shades of Brown? Pick one.
I'll be honest. We were as crappy a type name as it is. We remember X Defiant.
We do. Well, unless I'm calling it X Deviant.
I'm not sure.
We were doing one episode of the
website,
Always Online
yeah.
podcast where I just kept calling it Xdeviant for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
that's definitely not the name of it.
I-
Hey,
don't go to xdeviant.com, man.
right. Here's another, maybe it raises an eyebrow, maybe it doesn't. Let's get your takes on it. I don't think anybody would be surprised to find out that, Sony has plans for an eventual PlayStation 5 Pro or something like that. That's just kind of become the standard now. When we get 3 and 4 and 5 years into a console's life cycle, we kind of get the Pro version. Now, the Sony PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X have only been out for about a year now. They are still both remarkably impossible for mass audiences to get a year later. We expect that to be the case through at least next summer at this point.
Mm-hmm.
There are rumors saying that they're already working on the Pro, to the point of not just conceptualizing it and planning it out and, hey, this is going to be our model in a couple of years, but they are, through job postings, hiring people that look like they are going to be brought on specifically for a Pro version. The hiring ad reads, "Your tasks will include designing and developing new API features that allow us to get the most out of the PlayStation 5 hardware." It also wants applicants to let them know that they'll be contributing to the architecture of multiple generations of PlayStation consoles. That suggests if their work appears to be the next level, PS5 is a success, they'll probably be working on the PS6, kind of standard there. And I don't think this raises an eyebrow because Sony's making a PS5 Pro. But where I do wonder if it raises an eyebrow a little bit, Jason, is it a little bit tone deaf to be moving into production on PlayStation 5 Pros when the PlayStation 5 a year plus into its life cycle still is not readily available to just be moving on to the next more expensive version of that product, which will then also be just as unavailable as this one?
Yeah, it is. I think it's way too early to be doing something like this when you can't even make the basic one.
Yeah, do you agree? Does it raise a little
No,
eyebrow for
I
you?
don't think it's too early because what they're talking about, that job posting, isn't about actually building a PS5. Because right now the PS4's production bottleneck is in the factories. It's not in the home office where you're developing the software and working out how the chip works and how the actual system's going to look and feel and stuff like that. So to go just move on to that step to be ready for when the time comes, I don't think it's too early for that.
So you would be raising an eyebrow if they were moving into the production phase of this right now.
Right, because they're
You're
not,
kind of okay with it because it seems like more of the planning
right,
phase.
because you're talking about APIs and other software stuff that needs to be optimized for a Pro version, which that's done in-house in the office as opposed to on the manufacturing
But you
floor.
don't think there's a little bit of negative PR that comes with it? And I don't think either Jason or I are arguing with you on your point. It's a valid point that, like, your engineers are done with the PlayStation 5. What are you going to do? Just have them sit there while you wait? You probably want them working on the PS5 Pro or the PS6. I get that. I don't think Jason and I are arguing that point. But from a public perception standpoint, I do think it looks pretty shitty when you're like, hey, we're moving on. Sorry that this is unavailable.
I can kind of see that. I mean, there are the notes out that the current version of the PS5 that people are getting is different from, say, the version you have, Mike, because like the fan's a different size or something, and the heat sink in there's slightly different. Yeah, that type of thing. So I can see that there's things in the background working. So for your average fanboy, sure, it looks a little bad that you don't have a PS5 yet, and they're already moving on to the Pro. But to me, that kind of states that, especially with the lineage that we see with PlayStation, because they are very clear with their lineage. If you look at the PS4, you come out with the PS4, you come out with the Gen 2 Slimline, then you come out with the Pro. That's where they're at. So they're currently at the stage of working on the way that the Pro works for the future, which means they've already got their software engineers done with the Slimline version.
Yeah. So it doesn't bother me. I'm kind of closer to Yod than I am Jason here, but
yeah, I can see the average fanboy.
I can
being
definitely see some. Yeah, I can see
I'm
people
a
being
below
pissed
average
at it.
fanboy, so yeah.
Yeah,
makes sense.
there you go. Fan asking, what can they do to improve the supply? Well, ironically, rumors are abounding that Sony is about to put a multi-million, if not billions of dollars investment into a chip factory in Japan.
Right.
So this, I mean, it wouldn't open until 2024, so this is not a short-term investment right now that would fix the PS5 supply. But they are looking at it not only so that they control the regulation a little bit on when they have chips available, but also there's a strong desire for a lot of these companies to get their chip production out of Taiwan right now. Get them with all the conflict going on between Taiwan and China. People want to diversify who is producing who are producing their chips. Yeah, but you had the Accord that was had not expired yet. And that Accord is expired now.
True.
So yeah, there is a desire to maybe diversify where your chips come from at this point.
Are you China-splaining to Yod? I don't know.
No.
Wow.
No, I am not, Jason. In good news for Sony, though, they did outsell the Nintendo Switch last month, both in dollars, which they have been doing for a while, but in units sold, which is the more impressive number. Thus, Jason, bringing the Switch's 33-month streak for units to an end. So good on Sony.
I guess.
And that's with a shortage.
I was about to say, how did they?
It's just.
What if they actually had as many as people wanted?
Yeah, Jesus. Don't forget, gang. State of Play is coming up. There is a lot of speculation on this one, by the way, that this State of Play will include Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh.
That's just rumors based on a
Don't
couple of
buy into
oddball
it,
things.
yeah,
you know, like the game pages on Sony's
now you're
platforms
gonna
have
be
been
disappointed.
updated.
Now you're gonna hate it because it's not gonna have what you heard.
The
from
announcement
some
is
guy's second cousin's pigeon.
The State of Play is going to be all about announcements and updates for upcoming third-party games. Now, remember, 16 is not exclusive to PlayStation, but it will be timed exclusive to PlayStation. So I could see them announcing it. Some changes have been made to the PlayStation Store sites for Final Fantasy 16. We know Yoshi P didn't want to be at Tokyo Game Show because he didn't feel it was ready. And so he kind of held out. That was at the beginning of this month. And we've got the State of Play coming up in 4 days on the 27th. So next Wednesday, we'll be able to see that. Of course, you know, if they show 16, we will start with that before we go to Jeopardy next week on the Relic Grind.
Let's just do this other thing. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll just do this other thing. So I don't know. I don't put a whole lot of stock in this one, but we'll see. We'll see.
Let's just be fair. We've always been disappointed in State of Play. So
no, the last State of Play, all three of us were generally pretty positive on.
It was pretty good, but I mean, going in, you know, it's always been kind of okay. Yeah, we've seen that.
Tark has simply decided that based on the date, there won't be any 16. Okay,
I bet. I bet too that they'll somehow find a way to squeeze in a Deathloop trailer.
Oh God, no!
Because they're so used to having them now, they can't go without.
No, God, no. They have had Deathloop in like every single one for like the last 2 years. So here's what's interesting though. Like Yoshi P has said before that when he was like talking about E3 and things like that, that if 16 wasn't announced as part of the show docket, that you know, it was not going to be there. There was not going to be any surprise announcement. The problem with State of Play is that there's never a schedule release for State of Play, and we actually didn't know if there was going to be any more State of Plays this year because the last official thing on Sony's calendar was their showcase thing. So we didn't think, you know, we thought we were probably done, and this showcasing just third parties, I don't know, not until after Endwalker. I think you're being silly there. I don't think the two conflict at all. They're not worried about not advertising at the right times when you're talking about FF14 and 16. Put both commercials out simultaneously. They don't fucking care. Now, if we were talking about smaller title versus bigger title, I would totally agree with you. Get your smaller title its time and then announce the bigger title afterwards.
Right.
14 and 16 are so massive. I don't think they care about them butting into each other. I see your point. I disagree just because of the two games we're talking about. If we were talking about 16 and Forspoken, I'd probably be on Tark's, they're going to wait until Forspoken is out and then advertise 17 or 16. We'll see, though.
Skip 16, go to 17.
Yeah, let's just go straight to 17. Honestly, although Tark and I disagree on why, I do agree with him at the end of the day. I don't think it's going to be at this show. It would just be a pleasant surprise if it was. I feel like 20 days being the difference between Tokyo Game Show and the State of Play, they probably would have just shown it at the Tokyo Game Show then.
Maybe.
Is 20 days really the difference Yoshi P wanted when he said, the next time we come out with something, it's going to be closer to release? I've seen people speculating, Jason, that it's going to be not just information, but a release date too.
Oh, you're just drinking all the Kool-Aid.
I'm giving you the rumors. I literally just said I don't think it's going to be there. I would just be pleasantly surprised if it was. I can start any rumor
and you'll just report it immediately.
Well, you better have some corroborating evidence, like it wasn't planned. There's changes going on to the store's site right now. I don't know. I'm going to go.
To me, it's not the date. It's the fact that it's Sony's State of Play. Because they have that tie-in with Sony.
What do you mean?
They've got the timed exclusive with Sony. So if Sony's going to do an event type thing, they're going to ask them for something.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. So
it's not the 20 days. It's not the 20 days difference. It's the fact that it's Sony's State of Play as opposed to Tokyo Game Show.
Well, we don't have a release date for 16 yet.
That was like 5 years ago when 15 came out too. It's been around.
We don't have a release date for 16. That's what I was saying. That some of the speculation is that we will not only get a reveal or a trailer or something, but we will also receive a release date at State of Play. I would love it, no doubt. I mean, but there's just not enough for me to. Yeah, exactly. I'll be pleasantly surprised to see you, my friend, but I don't think you'll actually be there.
Right.
Oh, God. This one's all you, Yod, because Jason doesn't care about this one, and I know you do. I'm going to give abbreviated thoughts when we get there, simply because this was another topic we talked about on Always Online, and I want you to go watch MMO Bomb's Always Online podcast and help us recover some of the SEO value we lost changing our name after doing 400 episodes of something called the Free-to-Play Cast. So go watch Always Online on mmobomb.com. If you like these podcasts, it's another one you'll like. It's all multiplayer gaming. Destiny 2 went ahead and done screwed up, at least in my opinion. So
I think so too.
Destiny 2 decided, hey, we're going to put 2 dungeons behind the deluxe edition of The Witch King. So that's a paywall. The standard version is $40. The deluxe edition is $80. All the other editions go up from there. You have to buy that $80 deluxe edition or higher to receive access to dungeons in the Witch Queen expansion coming early next year. Cosmo taking to Reddit saying, if you get the digital deluxe edition of the Witch Queen, you'll receive the expansion, all 4 seasons for the next year, and the 2 dungeons. If you get the standard edition, you can still upgrade to the deluxe edition to get the dungeons later. We'll also be offering a separate way for you to purchase the dungeons in the future, but they will not be included in season passes. We will share more info on this closer to when the content is set to go live. Yeah, but there's no problem. They're taking pre-orders right now, even though they still have to explain stuff about these. They're more than happy to take your money. This is literally putting content behind a digital deluxe or a deluxe edition of a video game release. Yod, you are a Destiny 2 fanatic. As a fanatic, how do you feel about this? And then we'll take a few minutes. Jason and I will look at the new player experience that this impacts too.
So I do think it's a bad move for them. I had a theory on why, but you kind of blew that out of the water. I'm sorry. No. I had completely missed the part where it said it was not included in season passes. Because I had thought maybe.
Because they had done that before.
Right. Where the dungeon is part of the season.
Yeah.
So therefore, unless you have the deluxe edition, which includes all the seasons, you don't get the dungeons. But if if they're talking about the fact that you don't get them even if you get the season pass, then that means they're not part of the seasons.
Right.
So why? Why
Money.
would they do that?
Because money.
Yeah, obviously it's because of money. And I mean, granted, I'm gonna be getting the 30th anniversary edition with Galahorn and all that other jacked up stuff. But for the person that just wants to get the base edition, and they have friends that just get the basic edition and want to experience all that they can experience in it, that's kind of dumb. That's
Jason,
really dumb.
we thought a lot of these monetization, these oddball, why are they doing that things were coming from Activision. And Bungie literally had said, that they forced us to make a lot of decisions we didn't want to make. Now here they are on their own, and we've had multiple apologies and rollback in those years since, right? We just recently talked about the transmog system and the way that was horribly implemented, seemed like a cash grab stuff. They rolled a bunch of that stuff back. Now here we are with another one of these types of examples where, except in this case, it's literal content. It is actual, it's not sidebar events. This is literal content, dungeons. If you do PvE, what do? Dungeons and raids. That's your thing. Now $40 doesn't get you that. Doesn't get you that.
We were just talking about Lotro, and I remember when that first went free to play, everyone thought it was an amazing free to play system. Like they did it right. Turbine did the free to play right with Lotro, and every year something else got chipped away, something else got added to the shop, a little bit here, a little bit there, and now we all think it's a horrible system. And Destiny 2 is going down that exact road.
Same thing happened with Rift.
We loved,
remember Rift?
Oh yeah. We loved
Rift.
when Destiny free to play was first announced. We thought, well, look at all the stuff you get. That's amazing for a free player. Awesome, get all these campaigns, whatever. Now half of it is vaulted away, so you can't even play it if you want to, and the other half is going to be like this. So,
in my article, I was talking about the downvotes on MMO Bomb, and I said I think the downvote says enough, but just in case, let's remember two things to really hammer home what a terrible idea this is. One, Destiny 2 now vaults content. Meaning at some point in the future, these dungeons could find themselves vaulted along with other content you probably already paid for, since you already have to buy each expansion, not to mention the damn Eververse, which is shoved down our throat at every opportunity.
Right.
Two, and this is where I think it gets even worse, new players already have a stupid time trying to figure out what they should buy or what product contains the content they want to buy, when they've had their fill of a game's free-to-play offerings, of which they are substantial. I don't want to diminish the amount of stuff you do get for free if you are a new player, but it is already confusing to tell your new buddy that you're trying to get in the game, go buy this expansion, and then you'll be fine, because the rest of that stuff's vaulted, so don't worry about it. If you want to get it later when it's unvaulted and comes back, we'll talk about it then. Just go buy this. Now it's like, well, do you want to do dungeons? Okay, well, we got to do this, and then you got to buy that edition of this expansion. And what system are you playing on? And do you want to play on other platforms? Because then you'll have to buy this and this. And it is a mess when you talk to somebody about trying to get them into Destiny, Yod.
Yeah, it has become that way, especially with the crossplay and all that stuff, which has been interesting. Jumping into some of that stuff where you're playing with other platforms like on PvP and stuff, it's odd. Because you can tell they're on another platform. There's some lagginess going on and things like that, but that's besides the point. That's getting into the game and not the expansion. I think they're probably gonna amend that, considering the backlash.
so does Mike. He left space in the article for it.
yeah, I noticed that.
I put at the bottom of the
that.
article, writer's note, this spot reserved for the inevitable walkback update that Bungie is going to do on this, the same way they did the terrible introduction of the transmog system and many other decisions, because I think this is inevitable. How overvalued are those dungeons, or undervalued, right? Jason, if they add the ability for you to buy those later, you're talking about a $40 price difference between the standard and the deluxe. Now, you have to cash value your cosmetics and things that are in there, and now cash value those dungeons and put the total cost at least $40 to justify the upgrade to the customer.
Right.
Something is going to get undervalued or overvalued there, whether it's the dungeons or some of the cosmetics or some of the titles or whatever the hell you get in that deluxe edition. I don't understand if it is such a big deal, content-wise. If it is such a big deal that this is make or break, we have to put this content behind this $80 box. Why not just give me the standard edition at $50 with all the content?
Right.
Like, I don't get... It pisses me off, and I reinstated the question of the week on Always Online specifically because of this scenario, and a lot of people were asking for it, and I got sick of the emails. So I'll ask you two the question, because my answer is no. Should there ever be content, actual content, locked behind premium editions of games? Or should that just be cosmetics and head starts and season passes?
That's
definitely.
head starts and cosmetic stuff. Maybe a little, bonus silver or glimmer or whatever, in-game currency stuff. The content is it shouldn't be, and I think some bean counter decided it was a good idea, and they're realizing now that it's not. So
Poor Cosmo was the one that had to go post it on Reddit.
Right,
And, like,
right.
Cosmo had nothing to do with that decision.
Exactly.
Right?
It's
The
not
number
his,
one
like I said,
comment
it's
reply
probably some
under it
bean
was...
counter up the
Yeah.
ladder somewhere.
The number one comment under it, Jason, was, I'm sorry to say this, but you're about to get eviscerated here.
As someone who's been a community manager, I will say the community managers have no say in the shitty decisions that go on.
Right.
Nope, they're just the mouthpiece.
Mhm.
Cosmo, to be fair, did reply saying, you know what, it is what it is. I just didn't want people to be confused about what they were buying.
Right.
They'll just be angry about it instead.
Yeah, they'll just be angry about
We're
it
not
instead.
confused. We're just angry.
I mean,
Hey, Forza's coming out. Forza 5, it's available for preload. Preload. Yeah, preload. Yeah, so, fan, we got to go back. Because I was thinking about this in my head when I was writing the Destiny 2 article. How about ESO? What if they do it like ESO? As if they locked some dungeons or maps and as a chapter DLC or whatever. Isn't this the same concept? So if you don't know, Elder Scrolls Online gives you their MMO with some dungeons and some trials and stuff like that in their expansion when you buy that. But then as part of that expansion series, there will be a couple updates as DLC, as full DLC that you can go buy, and they have usually a dungeon and a trial in it in addition to continuing or polishing up some storyline. So, fan, I did sit there while I was writing this article and kind of try to equate what Destiny 2 was doing to what Elder Scrolls was doing.
right.
Is this the same thing? Came up... Go ahead, Yad.
That was my thought at first too, with the whole it might be part of a season thing, but like you said, in their actual, what they posted up, it's not part of the season pass. If it was part of the seasons, it would be part of the season pass.
Right. So when you look at the way ESO does it, you can buy that DLC or you can sub, which they don't do a season pass. The sub is their version of that stuff. If you sub in Elder Scrolls, you get access to all DLC immediately.
Right.
All of it. For
Right.
all of time. And as part of that sub, you get crowns. So you can sub for a month or two, right?
Mhm.
Stop your sub, and then use your crowns to buy a particular DLC if you want to, at no additional cost. The differences are going to be subtle on this one, fan, but I personally view them as very, very different in the respect that even if I don't... It's not an issue of whether I have access to dungeons or not in Elder Scroll. It's what dungeons I have access to versus what dungeons I don't in a particular expansion. I got what I paid for in the expansion, and whether I spent $40 on the base version or $100 on the collector's item, content-wise, us two got the same exact thing. That's not the case here.
Right. So just to clear a little something up, because chat seems to be, or Tarkov seems to be a little confused.
Wrap this up. Move it along. Come on, guys.
So DLC is the DLC for Destiny is the main package deal. That will get you a storyline that lasts for X amount of seasons. So the Beyond Light DLC, where you do stuff on Europa, that's the DLC. The seasons are kind of like updates where the story is updated every few months. So they're a little different.
I think, and
DLCs
I think this is getting a little too granular here.
Yeah,
But
I think it is.
but I did want to answer fans' question because I know it was fair. Somebody would have asked it on YouTube, and I did consider this fan. Yes, basically it's the forcing aspect.
Right.
When I look at Elder Scrolls DLC, that's an optional purchase. Jason, if you want to buy a dungeon, he can. If he doesn't, he doesn't want to. If we both want to buy the expansion, we can buy whatever version of the expansion. We're both getting the same content. It's just all the cosmetics and free stuff that are on top of it.
Right.
That separate dungeon later in the DLC, that's going to be a different choice down the road.
Right.
And that's going to be just a value determination on my part.
If they roll the dungeons into the seasons like they should have done in the first place,
Right.
if they want to do it, if they want to go this route, that would have been fine. There would have been no backlash whatsoever on it because it's part of the seasons.
Yep. And Tark is right. Destiny has many layers of monetizations now. Yes.
Oh, yes.
All right, so Forza Horizon 5 is available for preload. In case you have purchased or are going to purchase that, make sure that you have at least 103 gigabytes of space free on your Xbox Series X. Good Lord. Good Lord. That is rivaling. I mean, there's like 400 cars and shit, so it's not surprising, but that is rivaling, Call of Duties at this point.
Or Forza is also how many like hard drives you need. You need like Forza.
you need a Forza. You need a Forza. Among Us is coming out on consoles before the end of the year. That's in early December. Jason, you predicted it. I will let you spill it. You are 2 for 2, 100%. What happened this week?
Elden Ring has been delayed.
Because
there was no way that. Granted, I predicted like 75% of the games that announced a release date at E3 were going to be delayed, so it was hard not to make this one. This was an easier one than usual.
You predicted Forspoken and Elden Ring would both be backed out of January.
Mm-hmm.
Forspoken we talked about a few weeks ago. Elden Ring, I was surprised though. Like they only delayed it a month
so far.
Oh, no,
I mean,
they're not going to do another. They're not going to pull
No,
CD
they
Projekt
would
Red,
never
are
delay
they?
Nobody delays a game twice. No.
If you
Cyberpunk
delay it
New
into
World,
March,
no.
though, don't you go into second quarter of the year?
No. Because by
April
standard
is-
quarter, March release would be first quarter. By financial quarter, February, you're already, by financial calendars, you're already in second quarter when you start talking about February, aren't you? End of February.
January, February, March is a quarter. Whatever quarter it's in. It stays in the same
Not on the financial calendar, though.
Yeah, financial calendar is a little
Not on a
different.
financial calendar. They don't coincide to Jan 1 through December 31.
Right. So looking at their
But then it's Q4. It's March to March or something. It's still the same quarter. Jan, February, March is one quarter. Regardless of whether they call it Q1, Q4, or Q8,
Almost, yes. But you're going the end of the beginning of the end of those quarters does not coincide exactly with the months. You're talking about what's called an arc calendar in the financial world.
Whatever.
And it depends. Like your financial quarter could start on December 28th because that is the first Sunday or Monday of that quarter,
Right.
and then end. It is still trying to bracket January through March, yes,
Right.
but it's not necessarily exactly on Jan 1 to March 31 if they're using an arc calendar. That's also varies by company.
Okay.
It is not.
I get it.
So they probably have some more wiggle room before it gets pushed into their next quarter of profits.
I get it. Okay.
They're delayed.
How about that 27 seconds of some guy walking around?
Yeah. Oh,
If it doesn't
hey,
type, I don't know what will.
jump confirmed.
Oh
Maybe confirmed. He jumps in the video. He jumps. Yeah, there was leaked footage. We're not going to show it.
No.
Hey, FIFA decided, Jason, we've never really liked EA anyway.
Who does?
We talked about this on last week's show. FIFA probably not being the name of the product from EA this year. FIFA did go ahead and release a statement. I think it's safe to assume that EA's product will not be FIFA going forward here.
Bullish and optimistic about its long-term future in gaming and esports.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Following a comprehensive and strategic assessment of the gaming and interactive entertainment market, it is clear that this needs to be a space that is occupied by more than one party controlling all rights, which is ironic because that's what FIFA tries to do in the football world. But yeah, that's totally.
Comprehensive strategic assessment of the gaming and interactive market was they didn't want to pay us enough money.
Exactly. Let's slide over to Games of the Week. This is the way we end every episode of Gaming Gumbo. All three of us are going to recommend a game to you. Could be a board game, video game, something we're playing now, something we played a long time ago, something we've never played but we want to check out, and we think you should check it out too. In the comments on Ready Check Radio or on YouTube, you tell us who gave the best recommendation and why. Jason, you're up first, my friend.
So I'm going to give it to Haunted Chocolatier. I want to play it. I want to play it now. And
God, we can't win.
Maybe I'll even
Can't
pre-order
win.
it.
Nope.
We lost.
We did. Totally
We
did.
lost. Go ahead, Yod.
I was thinking about sports games that don't go along with their sports titles, and the old Nintendo All-Star Baseball came to mind, where you can make your own teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So Nintendo's All-Star Baseball flashback.
I'm going to go with the tabletop game, X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing miniatures, getting back into it after taking a little bit of time off. We will be streaming some of that, so if you like tabletop stuff, stick around. In addition to Final Fantasy TCG, we do other tabletops as well. We'll be streaming that, but that's going to be my recommendation. That's going to do it for this episode of Gaming Gumbo, but if you're in chat, don't go anywhere, because right after this show, we'll be going live with the Plague Doctor himself, Torchwick. What's up, sir?
Not much. What about you?
You've got a little thing on your face there.
I don't-
Little face. Celebrating
I don't-
Halloween a little early.
No, this is just my mask to keep the virus away.
Understood. What are we playing tonight, friend?
Well, seeing as it's spooky season, appropriately, we are still playing Vagrant Story.
Wait a minute. That's not
Did you finish
spooky.
that like 6 weeks ago?
We tried to finish it 6 weeks ago. We've
And
been
5
failing
weeks
ever
ago?
since.
And 4 weeks ago? And 3 weeks
Okay.
ago?
So, to be fair, though, you think you are going to finish it today to the point that the next game has been selected because you may not finish it at the end of your stream. You may finish early.
Yeah. Yeah, we're actually going to be moving on to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. A lot shorter.
A little bit of
game.
Halloween, yeah. Take a week or two with something short, celebrate Halloween, totally makes sense. So finish up Vagrant Story, and then jump into Castlevania. We'll be back next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern for Gaming Gumbo. Thursday at 7 p.m. will be the Relic Grind, where we may or may not talk about Final Fantasy 16 before we play some Jeopardy. Until then, Yod, where can everybody find you?
Yacht Artworks on Twitter, Yacht Artworks on Facebook, and right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Jason.
Find me on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and we'll tweet at you every time we go live with a show or a volunteer streamer. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.